Alafia, Ekuasan. Look at this beautiful afternoon. As promised, we do these quarterly, I guess, connections in front of the camera to reach out to you in a way that tries, only attempts, to catch up the wheel of all of the events and the movements and how that affects us as a whole. Of course, that's, for me, the only reason to really come forward, because y'all got all those pictures and things that go by on Facebook, and you kind of get a wind of it. But this is the moment, since we're in between with the hurt foot in the woods in camp, and we have our beautiful Earth Mama here with us. We said, let us, at least give some type of update and report. So it was so much, ladies and gentlemen, that it just got downloaded. We become a scribe for spirit, and some 4 pages later, we're going to try not to take up too much of your day today, and you could always come back to it. We're going to just give an overview of the Kindred and direct you, really, is the other piece, to where you can go to get more, because we really couldn't actually possibly talk to you about all of the parts of it. And so, of course, this particular video caption that we do, and we do try to do it as the seasons, as the gates of the big seasons, winter to spring, spring to summer, summer to fall, turn, because it's a way for us to integrate and empower ourselves and move into that next gate with our eyes open. You always see me say, stay woke. So this is called, and you'll see it more on the Kindred of Sangoma YouTube channel now, in seasons such as this. And seasons such as this came from a place where we're neutral, and there's a lot to take in on the negativity and the dark side, and there's what we hope we cling to in the light. And we just say, well, in seasons such as this, and other times, then the older people will say to us, this too shall pass, as it will. And as every day these seasons do change, the seasons of our own inner emotions also are trying to keep up. So we're talking a little bit about how does that feel for everyone, and where are some of the places within the amazing Kindred resources that you can help transform the fire of the summer. Was it enough? Did you like eclipses, July, and escalating tensions, and all sorts of parts, and it's sad to say, many personal and individual and family deteriorations. So yes, a very fiery time in the south of the wheel. And now we've passed through Lammas, the beginning of August. Here we are, just evolving. And the sun is probably about to go into Virgo from that Mufasa place of Leo. And in this place, some people call it the dog days of summer. It's just that gateway where we're going into the southwest. And hurt foot, southwest on the wheel is really a place where we stop, rest, renew, restoration, because we're about to go into the going within place. It's like this pause in between fiery, busy, moving, the height of the day, noontime, to sunset. What do we got to get done before we get to sunset is a really good way to look at our approach to the West Gate. Where are we leaving out? Perhaps places that we should close up. Hello. A lot of the work that people do emotionally is processing things that did not get their proper closure. So here we are. You like it? I love it. I'm always very at home here in Humble Hill Sanctuary. And it is a sanctuary. Many grandmothers and elders come here to rest. and even though we work incredibly because we have such a good Earth Mama taking care of us, we rest. We do, in a way that we cannot even describe to you. All that's missing for me is eventually I'm going to get in that bamboo there in a hammock for my naps in the afternoon. So, again, through this process, we're able to update you in 3 really, really powerful areas. Certainly, in a nutshell, from the beginning of 2019, and we said to Earth Mama this morning that we are so looking forward to Alexandria Valadares, my Honduran immigrant friend, to come to Falling Leaves Rendezvous this fall and bring who she is, all of who she is, and her life story, perhaps, to one of the evening campfires. I know I've sat with a number of people. It's kind of a quiet thing that we do in Rendezvous, and Alex from up on the mountain is kind of the host of it, and he invites someone to speak of their life before Erskill's Rendezvous. Who were they? And if we were suddenly to go to the next star system, at least some of those who come to sit, and it's a big gathering, you know, you only have about 10 or 12 somebodies that creep in there and say, I want to hear who she was. And so it's a powerful, powerful story. We'll come back to it, though, in just a moment. Yeah, how'd your 2019 come in? That's where we are. And we wanted to kind of turn the pages of it, because it really is an evolution. That is our work in sacred activism, to take what was, to be in what is, and to gently try to move your way forward. And as we go into this West Gate, we're acutely aware that this vibration, this 3 vibration that 2019 has been and still is, moves into a 4. Moves into a place that we should be stepping into, how our form comes together, how our organization comes together, what we can rely on, moving into, for sure, self-reliance within our sustainability, within our sovereignty of the whole collective. So for us, January came in with an amazing opportunity to sit with master students from the University of Vermont, again, where we met Alexander Valadares, a mutual friend of my friend Sarah Pinto, also a Honduran immigrant, and to have ourselves, thankfully, in teaching or sharing Crossing the Lines, Dismantling Racism, to have this page that's so big in all of our headlines of who are these people? Are they just what? They're just thieves and rapists, all these things that we hear going by, or what is their humanity? And so it didn't go by me. I didn't miss that piece, that my prayers coming into the new year went immediately into a very deep place of, oh, these are who our brothers and sisters are, that have amazing stories of what they were seeking here in America, what they found here in America, and who they are and what they do now. And our joy is that we're beginning to weave some of those beautiful stories and presence into the many gatherings that we go through throughout the year. So that was amazing. And then, of course, February comes and it leads us into Florida Erskills. We'll say a minute about it, simply because, you know, there's so many of you, and you're in different areas, and you try to reach us all the time, and we want you to, you know, try to have a real placement of how this evolution happens. Florida, our beloveds, Rich and Alice, who have been our cooks and our kitchen people for years at the big grandfather Erskill's Rendezvous spring event, Falling Leaves, we're about to go to, and in the course of ancestral movements, where we used to be in Gainesville, Florida, is now on Rich's people's land, with big cemetery at the front. It's pretty amazing. And at the same time, our friend Ren has passed down leadership. What does that look like for 1 female and 2 males to embody a movement like that? We had just gone through it with Firefly last year, where we begin to see the batons of being passed down, and how we do in holding this new energy. Everybody's in it. I'm just giving you a little bit of our experience. And then, of course, March, we were in Piedmont, which is always good because we have a nice community of folks, not only in Asheville. You might always think I'm just up in the mountains in Asheville, but it really extends all the way Durham, Chapel Hill, Raleigh, and those areas. And so Piedmont is that gathering at Shatoria Hills that happens really, it's either the end of March or actually the beginning of spring, if Fuzz could help it, because we had so much cold there when we tried to do it right around the spring equinox. So that was delightful. Alexandria Valadares was there, and there were many evolutions in that particular of where we are, because we don't come into the woods and just play games and just think that our major lives and our challenges outside of the woods and the campfire don't exist. We come there to heal those things and to talk about how to heal those things. You know, the pictures, it just looks like tanning hides and starting fires and archery and things like that, and it's all of that. and some more. But for people to actually slow down their lives enough between their meals, between the fires, a lot of smiles, a lot of good mornings, a lot of hugs, to remember our humanity. It's an awesome thing. I invite you to do it. So that brings us to the second area that we kind of are speaking of now. I know we only got through there. After that was like Earth Skills Rendezvous Spring event, Avalon, South Carolina. We're about to go again to the Fallen Leaves event. And then off and rolling between, May, Mother's Day, and then we're in the Memorial Day, which is a 2-week ancestral festival. Beautiful pictures. We're going to do a little more with that. So happy to receive my mother's lineage, the Ogun Banis, this particular year. We hadn't done that since our festival for Tribes for Peace, where we brought out our father's line. And we were off and running and into the summer, and we got our beach day in, which was great with the grands. You know, it's one thing, you always have to have that balance of being out here and serving and serving and serving, and then that time where your grandchildren know their Grammy and knows that she will spoil them and just watch them play in the ocean for 6-7 hours at the time, as long as they don't get sunburned. So the summer was good. It was full and busy, and I'm going to sweep to the highlight of Wild Darlings, which is in fact, movie set, I guess you would say. We just thought we were at Blossom Dell up in Bloomingburg, New York, and that, like the beginning of the year, I have to say that, stepped me into a world in a very intimate and personal way of the queer women of color and that community and who they are really who they are, you see. I think up until that point, maybe I just had a loose framework for like drag queens. My brother was gay, people of same sex that really love each other. They have a very unique bond. You can see their souls fit together. This could have been all of that, but starkly in my face. I think it will be in the face of anyone that views this particular pilot. We don't know how that's going to happen as it goes to Sundance in 2020, but it moves on to a full feature film. And we are saying to you, watch it, because we have wild darlings everywhere. And for the 11 women that I got to know on a whole nother levels of their sexuality, their ancestral scars, their wounds, what they overcome each day, as we all do. We all have stuff we overcome just to get up out of the bed in the morning. Well, yeah, took that to another level. So Wild Darlings was definitely one of those page-turner communities and opportunities that we found ourselves in that opened that heart. And this is the energy we're in. If I had to, give you the big picture, is that everything, as difficult as it is in this summer and now moving to the West, is about opening the heart, or not. And clearly, day by day by day, we can see those of us that are able, through our compassion, to open our heart. And those that just, we look at them and we go, you must be heartless. There must not be no heart in there at all, because we don't see any evidence of a heart. And so the absolute is, what are we going to do with that? You see, because someone said that the other day, my friend Jason up in Virginia, he said, well, we just need to get rid of those people. Where are you going to get rid of them to? I asked the same question when people said they're going to throw things away. I said, well, way to where? And because these are the things that we have to, now we're in the resolution of duality. We're in the place of building bridges. We're in the place of coming to the common ground. If we don't, it's a bad bill of goods that we're handing our children and our children's children. It's just that simple. So the conversations are waiting to be had. And this brings us to the strengthening of the ropes of the Kindred, where the stair steps we're moving on says, okay, it's time to bring the nonprofit. Wow, you got 3 kind of home-based sanctuaries, and you can't keep tripping and falling, packing and unpacking your car. You're going to have to act like you see ahead, where now you're more centralized, so you can concentrate on what medicine goes out, and those in need of that medicine come to you. So it's kind of like a big pivot turn of the wheel that looks like, please send your links. My Earth Mama said, your website links or your Facebook groups, or however you would like us to interact with all that's going on in the events and things like that in your world. we would love to have that in the Classroom Collective. That's what it is. We each are learning. It's an exchange of learning about each other. We're going to need it. It's not information just passing by. And, lastly, you give us that piece now in August. This grandmother is, who is she? Heals all. Yeah. She who heals. She who heals. And the question in front of us is, how are we serving the truth? How are we serving the truth? Which brings me in the nice segue to, if you kind of want to look at this and get some deeper parts in the conversation, please go to our website, kindredofsangoma.org, because there things are pretty much done on purpose. We're showing you in the slideshow many of the things that stop us and give us pause for meditation or these conversations with ourselves. We also are bringing you to the updated what's getting ready to go down, where we're going to be at. You could meet us there in the woods, or you should at least know about it. Let me just say, what am I excited about? I'm excited about being asked to teach at Art of Mentoring in Vermont. That's next week, in elder culture, and how the young people, what is the intergenerational big piece of pie that we all can participate in. How does that look? Particularly that we do have parents with Alzheimer's, and we do have caretaking, and we're trying to figure it out. How do we still balance all the work in our lives with these people that are getting older and now haven't even sat at their knee yet and heard half their stories? And then that results in the people who come to me all the time, and they don't have any pictures or even a funeral program. They can barely remember where they're buried, maybe. And so these are the things, trust me on this, these are the things that powerfully connect our agreements between the living, the dead, and those waiting to be born. How this big wheel is turning. You hear me say it all the time. A big piece in that is Nancy Baskett handed me this book, What is the Color of Your Soul? And this amazing woman that I haven't even met yet, but of course because I am in her work really deep, Nyambi Jaha Echols. She will be with us at the Falling Leaves Rendezvous, yes, Avalon, South Carolina, Westminster, South Carolina, and there are scholarships available for people of color, and so, you should tap in. I think those applications are going in within the next week or so. There's always work trade, and so we're seeing conversations like that. That comes right after Earth Song Rising. Anyway, we're right there at the website with you. That front page, home page, it's going to give you a lot of information about these events, gatherings that are coming as we move through the fall toward the West Gate. So, in a nutshell, and it's already been like, right, we've been just talking, but doesn't it feel like that? Doesn't it feel like we've lived 8 years just in the 8 months of 2019? It's pretty amazing, but I try to remind myself each day that we were born to do it, that we are the ones we've been waiting for, and so, step up, put the big girl panties on, and try to keep it moving. And we want to say a word for Grandmother's book of wisdom, Tall Tales and Wild Adventures, because you see how quickly I had to move through the amazingness we didn't even tell you to have. But we're glad to say that we've had some people come together and spoken with some people at Llewellyn, and we really feel like that particular book will at least make its appearance for release before this holiday season and our gift giving. So we covered the reboot of the website, and we say go there, work with us. We'll say a little bit about how do you know who the Kindred is. If you know, as my friend there says, Xavier Hawk, when the shit hits the fan, where are your people? Do you really have phone numbers written down somewhere, or are they all a button in the machine? If the machines go down, these things happen. What do you know? What do you know about who you, or how you can rely on yourself? That's number one. But who else you can rely on that you can move to, or that's already gathering wood for the campfire, because some people will be coming in. That's the kind of people that we meet with in the woods. Some go down, they hear about it, they're going to have their radios on, their shortwave radios, and they're going to be gathering the wood and probably putting a pot of soup on, because some people will be coming into camp. And so we hope that you are aware of that sacred activism is very active. It is the act of making all things sacred, and our relationships, we hope and pray, to one another are. sacred enough that we would take that time to think about our B plan and our C plan. So that website, About Us or About the Kindred, everybody you see there knows Kindred of Sangoma, knows ourselves in an amazing way. There's no doubt about that, whether they've known us for a year, 2 years, or whether they've known us 30 years. And it runs the gamut. And that's a good thing. That's a good thing that we would want to say, oh, I know I don't know you, but Grandmother Sangoma said we could come on by here. Because just like Mama Moses, and that's another whole story, we're going to be doing some classes again. We already did a few on High John the Conqueror and the juju that Harriet Tubman was really working. You knew she was bigger than that in Black History Month. I know I did. And so we've confirmed a lot of that information. All right then. So I think we're about there. We've got a couple of more areas of the Kindred that we have to make you aware of that you'll be seeing on the upcoming pages of the website. Certainly the back page, get involved. You're going to move to membership. That's really good as we go to a nonprofit status to have members who have benefits and discounts at Mama Loja's trading posts and discounts off of events that we're at or events that we're doing as we come into giving retreats and going into the winter, and books and stuff. And so that's all going to be listed out for you in the Classroom Collective as we bring that information forward. We're opening the school. So for the last 3-4 years, Season of the Raven has been an online community phone call, really, where we just hold temple with one another for the last usually 6 or 8 Tuesdays or some evening going toward the new year, so that we can kind of process down where we're going as this vibration steps up into the next year. We hear it's now Season of the Raven or School of Alchemy or something in that neighborhood. And that again, it still will be a longer version. I like how Year of the Coyote, where you have some online stuff, but one weekend a month you meet in the woods and all that gets real practical. You can do the bird language and do these various parts. I like the way that comes together. So I have to say, pray with me. I'm still praying and staying open and listening real deep for how that's structured, how the school of mystics and shamans and many of the questions I get asked all day, every day, how that can come together for people in a way that works between 2019 and 2020 and all that we have going on in our lives. Spirit Speaks Publications, the basis of the books coming out. Look for it. It developed really from a place where I did handbooks for people as we were in these different gatherings in the woods, and now for the sake of my children and their children, lots of things are being documented and put down so that, like, I'm so glad every day that I tried to grab with my 20 questions everything I could from every elder I sat at the knee of, because I didn't want anything to die with them. I wanted just their physical bodies to lay down and they'd become angels, you see. And so we have to. That's my goal, is to give as much of it away before I go to that next star system. And Spirit Speaks Publications is definitely a way to do that. Still trying to secure the property up here in the North Carolina mountains that would give us a teepee up in Blossom Down, New York, permaculture. You're going to hear more about that there on the About Us page. And then somewhere here in the North Carolina mountains, the major retreat center, the school, home base, the art gallery. We've seen a property that even has the community kitchen already. There's places for everybody to tent up and be real cozy with us. And so anything is possible. There's so many possibilities. And we're staying open. We're dreaming big. That's what we say. You cannot get distracted. We give our solidarity to the women, what they call them, the squad. We give solidarity to these people that they know they're being used as a distraction. They say, oh, well, he sure don't want to talk about the economy. And then Wall Street done went down 800 points. Guess he'll pick on some more people of color. And so don't believe the hype. You get stuck, go back and listen to Public Enemy. Because this has been preached for a while, that if they can capture your attention on really stuff that's it's too shall pass. You have to stay with your eye on the ball of your survival, your family's ability to look at their differences and still agree to disagree, and to unite in love, because love will carry us through it. Well, I believe that. I know you believe that. And that's why we're kindred. And so I think we're there. I do. It was a lot to bring to you, but I'm excited about it. There's so many, many pieces that my dear Earth Mama will knit together in a beautiful visual way that, we begin to capture some more of what goes on out there. I do know among you there's still a few that say, well, I don't know. I am not a real camping person. But it's important. That's how we close this today, is that it may seem like a lot of business, it may seem like a lot of things in that cyberspace world. Wow, what the difference? what the difference when you have time for your mind and heart and soul to expand simply in nature, simply by a hummingbird coming up, or simply by the quiet of nature itself. That's pretty powerful. Nature does its thing, whether it storms or feeds us, or okay, it's always here. And so we're good to follow the example of our communities among the standing people and the stone people. And yes, you'll see it go across where our next sweat lodges are up in here. So we want to give a shout out to Sacred Hoop Women's Prayer Collective here in the Asheville area that very much hosts us for these different pieces. There's just so much good stuff coming on. And try to tap into some of it, some kind of way. That's why we're opening all these doors. You might not be able to get to the woods, but you maybe can get to the website, or my phone number, or however it is. And do not ignore the voices of your ancestors. Do not ignore the unction. This is the time. As this turns, this is the time. This is the time. Give some real power to that stay woke piece. We want to say a word for our Rumi Oracle. We feel like we don't have time to do readings here for all of us, but we want to say, wow, our foot is healing. We are in a position of stillness for a minute between here and next Wednesday before we head for Vermont. And if that's you, if there's some information or something on your heart that you would love for the oracles and your heavenly hosts of ancestors to speak on and give you another way to look at it, holla. We're not going to give our phone number out, but you can reach out to us through Facebook or social media. We love you so much, as all of our teachers say aloha, and as we've learned to say from the wild darling, shada shada, which is the highest gratitude that we could have and give in the Portuguese language. Yahoo.